Serial killers have always fascinated audiences, but few cases gripped America like the Zodiac. In 2007, David Fincher turned the mystery into one of the most detailed true crime films ever made. You know the story on screen, but behind it there's Jennifer Aniston's surprising influence, the oak trees flown in by helicopter, and even a cameo from one of the Zodiac's real victims. So let's take a look at the secrets behind one of Fincher's most meticulous films. Fact number 1. The film helped reopen the case. By the time Zodiac hit theaters in 2007, the San Francisco Police Department had officially closed its Zodiac file. But the movie stirred up so much renewed public interest that they reopened the investigation. Fincher's team had interviewed so many people and dug up so much detail that even the cops were curious to see what they'd missed. Sadly, the new leads didn't crack the case. But to this day, the Zodiac file is still active in multiple jurisdictions. Fact number 2. The pricey trees of Lake Berryessa. For the Lake Berryessa attack scene, accuracy was everything. Trouble was, the oak trees the killer had once hidden behind were gone by the time of filming. Rather than fake it with CGI or pick another spot, the production literally flew in 2 giant oak trees by helicopter and replanted them. Not only were they massive, they were also a protected species, making the stunt insanely expensive. All that work just to make sure the background matched a crime scene photo from the 1960s. Fact number 3. Gyllenhaal's 2 pretty hands. David Fincher obsesses over details most directors would ignore. For close-ups of Robert Graysmith drawing or writing, they used a hand double. Normal enough. But then Fincher decided the double's hands looked too hairy compared to Jake Gyllenhaal's. Solution? Digitally retouch the shots so the hands look smooth, almost delicate. Fincher even joked about Jake's pretty hands on the DVD commentary. If you ever wondered why the handwriting scenes look oddly polished, now you know. Fact number 4. Zodiac was almost a Disney film. Hard to imagine now, but Robert Graysmith's book was once in Disney's hands. The studio optioned it early, but never managed to get a project off the ground. Only after the rights lapsed in 2002 did Phoenix Pictures pick it up, paving the way for Fincher. Given how bleak and obsessive the movie turned out, it's probably for the best that Mickey Mouse didn't try to handle the Zodiac. Fact number 5. Jennifer Aniston helped with casting. Before Zodiac assembled its powerhouse cast, it got push from Jennifer Aniston. She'd worked with both Jake Gyllenhaal and Mark Ruffalo and recommended them to Fincher during a casual conversation. The suggestion stuck, and both actors ended up as key players in the film. A strange thought. Without a chat from Friends' own Rachel, the lineup of Zodiac might have looked very different. Fact number 6. The color blue is everywhere. If you watch closely, you'll notice Fincher sneaking the color blue into nearly every corner of the film. Blue ink in Zodiac's letters, blue overalls on Arthur Lee Allen, even a blue cocktail in one scene. It's not just for atmosphere. Graysmith had a water theory about the killer choosing sites near bodies of water, and the constant blue was Fincher's way of keeping that idea in the viewer's mind. Subtle, but relentless. Fact number 7. There's a shocking amount of CGI. You wouldn't think of Zodiac as a special effects movie, but it quietly used tons of CGI. The San Francisco skyline was digitally rebuilt to match 1969. The blood in the murder scenes was added in post instead of on set. Even everyday outdoor shots were touched up to look era accurate. Fincher wanted total control, and digital tricks gave it to him. The end result looks natural enough that most viewers never realize how much was fake. Fact number 8. The film's killer was actually multiple actors. To keep things accurate, Fincher didn't stick with one actor for the Zodiac. Survivors described the killer differently, so 3 different performers played him in the murder scenes. Add Fincher's love of shadows and obscured faces, and you get a killer who feels both real and impossible to pin down. Fact number 9. The film may not have happened without Star Wars. Fincher didn't just appear out of nowhere with C7N and Fight Club. Back in the early 1980s, he worked at Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas's effects house. His name is in the credits for Return of the Jedi, and he spent years learning the craft on the Star Wars trilogy. Even funnier, when his family moved to California, they ended up living 2 doors down from Lucas himself. Not a bad neighbor to have before directing your own classics. Fact number 10. The film only won 1 award. With rave reviews and an 89% score on Rotten Tomatoes, you think Zodiac would have cleaned up at award season. Instead, it got buried. Released in March, it was forgotten by the time Oscar voters made their picks. To make matters worse, 2007 also gave us No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood. In the end, Zodiac scored just 1 win. Best Director from the Dublin Film Critics Circle. Not exactly the haul it deserved. Fact number 11. One of the killer's survivors has a cameo. Halfway through the film, Mark Ruffalo's detective Toshi storms out after bad news about Alan's property search. If you look closely, a couple quietly passes by. That man is Brian C. Hartnell, one of the Zodiac's real-life surviving victims, walking with his wife. Fact number 12. The killer looked too accurate. Fincher's obsession with realism is most obvious in the murder scenes. Survivors were interviewed at length to get the details right, down to the victim's movements and the killer's behavior. The opening Blue Rock Springs attack and the Lake Berryessa stabbing are so accurate that they play less like dramatizations and more like forensic reconstructions. Fact number 13. Fincher wanted 2 minutes of nothing. An early cut of Zodiac ran over 3 hours and included a bizarre sequence, a full 2 minutes of black screen, while songs from each year played to show the passage of time. Paramount refused to let it stay, and the theatrical cut used a quick 4 years later title card instead. Fincher, of course, got his way in the director's cut, where the blank montage appears in full. Fact number 14. David Fincher's childhood connection. Fincher didn't approach Zodiac as a detached storyteller. He grew up in Marin County, right in the killer's territory. He was only 7 when police cars began tailing his school bus after the Zodiac threatened to shoot one. That memory stayed with him, shaping his spin and eventually pulling him towards Zodiac. He even ditched another project to make it. The case was too personal to ignore. Fact number 15. John Carroll Lynch's strange coincidence. John Carroll Lynch gave a chilling performance as Arthur Lee Allen, the film's prime suspect. In Robert Graysmith's book Zodiac Unmasked, there's an eerie detail. When Allen was questioned back in 1969, the detective assigned to the interview was also named John Lynch. So yes, a man named Lynch once interrogated Allen, and decades later another Lynch played him on screen. Fact number 16. Zodiac introduced Hollywood to digital filming. By 2007, you'd think Hollywood was already deep into digital cameras. But not really. Zodiac was among the first major films shot mostly digital, using a Thomson Viper Filmstream camera. For Fincher, it was a dream. No waiting until the next day to see dailies, and endless takes without burning through film stock. Some scenes, like the taxi ride, were still shot on film, but most of the movie was digital. Fincher later said he wasn't trying to start a revolution. He just hated waiting.